Sometimes the world abandons people, but love can still arrive on four tired legs. A homeless war veteran sat alone in the freezing streets of Norway every night until a wounded stray dog walked toward him carrying a broken red scarf in its mouth. What happened next changed an entire town forever. In the snowy city of Tromsø, Norway, winter felt endless. The streets were covered in thick ice, the nights were silent, and people hurried home before darkness swallowed the city. Near the old harbor bridge sat a man named Elias. Most people ignored him. He wore the same heavy gray coat every day and slept beside a small closed bakery with only cardboard and old blankets to keep him warm. Years ago, Elias had worked as a rescue medic during dangerous military operations overseas. He had saved lives, carried injured soldiers through storms, and once walked 3 miles through freezing rain just to rescue a trapped child. But after returning home, life slowly fell apart. He lost his wife after a long illness. He lost his apartment because he could no longer work. And eventually, he lost hope. Every morning, Elias would quietly feed birds with the little bread people gave him. Even when he was hungry, he still shared. One night, during the middle of a snowstorm, Elias heard a weak sound behind a dumpster. A soft cry. He stood up and searched through the snow until he found a dirty golden-colored dog trembling beside frozen boxes. One of its legs was injured, and a torn red scarf was wrapped around its neck. The dog looked terrified. But instead of running away, it slowly walked toward Elias. That night, Elias gave the dog the last half of his sandwich and wrapped it in his only dry blanket. "I guess we save each other now," he whispered. From that moment on, the dog never left him. Elias named him Storm. Every morning, people started noticing something unusual. The homeless man who once sat silently by himself was now smiling. Storm followed him everywhere, to the harbor, to the bakery alley, even to the nearby church where volunteers handed out soup. Children stopped to pet the dog. Tourists took photos. And for the first time in years, strangers began talking to Elias. One little girl asked him, "Why does the dog love you so much?" Elias smiled softly. "Because he knows what it feels like to be forgotten." The story could have ended there. But one freezing evening, something unbelievable happened. A strong snowstorm suddenly hit the city. Visibility disappeared, roads closed, and temperatures dropped dangerously low. A 9-year-old boy named Henrik accidentally wandered away from his mother near the harbor market. Police searched everywhere. Volunteers shouted his name through the storm. But the snow swallowed every sound. Then Storm suddenly started barking. Loudly. Desperately. Before Elias could stop him, the dog sprinted into the storm. Elias followed. For nearly 20 minutes, they searched through freezing winds until Storm stopped beside an abandoned fishing shed. Inside, curled beside cold wooden crates, was little Henrik. Shivering. Crying. Barely conscious. Elias immediately removed his own coat and wrapped the child inside it while Storm lay beside the boy to keep him warm. When rescuers finally found them, the entire town was shocked. The homeless man everyone ignored had just saved a child's life. News spread across Norway within days. Photos of Elias and Storm appeared online. People called them the Guardians of the Snow. Donations poured in. A local carpenter offered Elias a small apartment. The bakery owner gave him a permanent job. And a veterinarian treated Storm's injured leg for free. But the moment that touched people the most happened weeks later. During a community celebration, the mayor asked Elias how he survived so many painful years. Elias looked down at Storm before answering. When the world stopped seeing me as a human being, this dog still did. The entire hall fell silent. Some people cried. Others hugged their families tighter. Because deep inside, everyone understood the truth. Sometimes healing does not come from money. Not from success. Not even from words. Sometimes healing begins when someone, or even an animal, chooses to stay beside you when life becomes unbearable. Years later, tourists visiting Tromsø would still hear the story of Elias and Storm. Not because they became famous, but because they reminded people that kindness still exists in a cold world. And sometimes, the smallest act of love can save a life that was already giving up. Never judge someone by where they are standing in life today. Every person is fighting battles you cannot see. And sometimes, the purest kind of love comes from the hearts that society overlooks the most. Animals do not care about status, money, or appearance. They love honestly, and that kind of love can heal broken people. If a stray animal walked into your life during your darkest moment, would you ignore it, or would you